the prop bets. I mean, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, I do want to share some thoughts on this whole Brady issue. Some people are chiming in on social media, and let me I say again, I think he could retire. The mind of Josh says no chance. He's playing at least 2 more years, unfortunately. They need 1 more Super Bowl win to have the most Super Bowl wins by a coach and most Super Bowl wins by a franchise. He'll come back to try to get those, which really stinks for the AFC. Laugh out loud. Teal Apocalypse says, I know I remember reading or listening to something a few years back where he said he really wanted 6 to match Jordan. Well, he just got it. Lee says that it might be it or that it, quote, will be. Seems like any year could be, might be in. And my response to Lee was, well, not really. He has indicated that he wants to play until 45. Publicly, he has said 0% chance he's retiring. Might play till 45. I'm just telling you, I think there's more wiggle room in that than 0%. I don't agree with the 0%, and I'm actually leaning at this stage. These last couple of days, I've been a little vocal about it. I think this could be it for Tom Brady. Again, I'm not breaking news. I'm just giving you my thought, my opinion, my gut that this is it for Tom Brady.
Let me ask you this question, too. So Josh McDaniels is sticking around. He had an opportunity to go to Indianapolis last year.
Yep.
Kind of swerved him a little bit, to say the least. I think Josh McDaniels knows something as well, because do you think Josh McDaniels would come back to a team that didn't have Tom Brady as offensive coordinator?
Well, it's a good point, okay? It's a really good point. And that's probably the one thing that says, okay, maybe I'm wrong here. Well, it's probably more than that. But that's another one that says, because I just told you, I think Skarnecki is a big part of this. Skarnecki is like 71 years old. He's already retired once. Mm-hmm. He just got another Super Bowl. He might want to retire. He's so good they had to bring him back. And when they didn't have him, their offensive line was terrible. Yeah. So I think he's a part of it. I think McDaniels is a comfort zone's part of it. And now Gronk, if he goes too, which everybody expects, and then who knows what happens elsewhere with other guys in terms of free agency and all that stuff. So I think the core is starting to break up around Tom Brady. And I'm just telling you, the reason I came up with all this, just to go back on it for one more moment before we get to the MVP talk, is I saw a different Brady. It's one of those deals. We have all done it and seen it. We've seen it in sports, and nobody wants to admit it's like this. But I'm telling you, the way the Patriots reacted this week, it was like, I can't believe we are here this year. Mm-hmm. And let's enjoy this, because we felt like the run was probably coming to an end, and it didn't. And here we are. This is a bonus one. Let's go win it. I feel like he played poorly because he wanted it more than any other one, because he knew this was an opportunity 4 weeks ago he never thought he'd even get in 2019. That's my read. That's my read on the whole situation. I'm probably reading into it too much, but I'm just telling you what I saw and felt throughout the week that could add up to him. And again, family counts here. Giselle has already been on record of saying, yeah, I want him to retire. She wanted him to retire 2 years ago after they won that Super Bowl. And listen, anybody married out there?
Happy wife, happy life.
I mean, the kids are getting older. Mm-hmm. Like I said this to Stuart Weber on our ride back today. Edelman goes to Disney because he's MVP. Well, Brady's going too. Brady doesn't want to do this crap. He doesn't want to do all that stuff. He's done it a million times. That throws give me another feather in my cap. Give me another arrow, all right? Because I think Brady saw this and said, listen, this might be it. Let's enjoy this one. Let's do all the festivities. And I also believe his kids are at the age. You know how he had his little girl up there? Yeah. She's at the perfect age to say, hey, Dad, let's go to Disney.
True.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so my point is, family is starting to come into his mind more than ever before. Being a dad, giving back to those people that have sacrificed everything. Because if you've heard me around here for the last handful of years, I say it all the time. If you want to be as good as Tom Brady is, you have to be selfish. And that means your kids but they sacrifice a little dad time. Your wife suffers. If you want to be, and again, I'm using suffer in a very poor word choice.
No, but
you
have to sacrifice a lot.
They sacrifice a better word.
Yeah.
And so, but you have to be extremely selfish to be as elite as Tom Brady is. And I think he's starting to understand that and says, you know what, I've been selfish enough. I got 6 of these things. Yeah. And so I'll be interested to see how the next few weeks plays out. And by the way, in a couple weeks when he says, yeah, let's go. 2019 season. Can't wait for it. I'll say, all right, I was wrong.
And to kind of back up your point, too, a little bit, and we've talked about it before, he has kind of this year, it seemed like, bring up these instances where he's trying to find, I guess, motivation, basically.
Yes, self-motivation, right? Chip on the shoulder. Everybody's against us.
Like, everyone's against us. Like, no one's believing in us. And, like, granted, some of the talking heads said that, but it wasn't like they were like, oh, Tom Brady's lost. Like, no one's ever really said that.
No. Still in awe of his playing at 41.
Exactly. But the way he made it come across was the fact that he had to find something else to be self-motivated. So the fact that he kind of had to dig deep in that well and pull something out that might have been a little fabricated, it might have been a little made up, can also kind of back up your point a little bit as well. But at the end of the day, I still say he's got a couple more years left.
Yeah. All right, let's get the MVP talk. This is another one. And I lost this one, too. So I watched that game yesterday, and 141 yards for Edelman. And let me make the case for Edelman. It's 141 yards. He was the offensive star from an entire game standpoint. He moved the chains. He kept the ball, the time of possession, those things that add up. Game within a game, I think the coaching staff would say, yeah, without Edelman, they couldn't cover him. He was uncoverable. He was probably the best player on the field on Sunday. From an offensive perspective.
I think it was 10 catches, too, as well.
10 catches, 141 yards. So again, this is not my case of saying he's undeserving. Mm-hmm. I felt like that you win the MVP by making game-changing plays. And the guy that made the game-changing play was Rob Gronkowski. I mean, he's the one that makes the play to win the game. I mean, they score a touchdown because of Gronkowski. They make changes in their game plan with 10 minutes to go in that fourth quarter because of Gronkowski's ability. They do the wheel route. They go down the field, the seam. He makes a great catch on a great throw. And bam, they win another Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl because of Rob Gronkowski, in my opinion. They did not win it you know what all Edelman's 140 yards got him?
What's that?
3 points.
Okay. I mean, by all means, please keep going. I'm just waiting to argue with you. I'm waiting till you're done.
And we were talking with 10 minutes to go in that game, people were debating if a punter should win the award because it was that wide open. So
Agreed.
When a guy like Gronkowski, when you're talking about punters and defensive players and everyone else on both teams, and then a guy goes and makes 2 big plays down the stretch to win the game for you, and also had, I think he had 7 catches. Maybe it was 6.
He had 6 catches for 82 yards.
Yeah, so it's not like that was all he did. 6 catches for 82 yards, pretty good for a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, let's not call him a tight end here. Let's call him a receiver. Okay. That's what he was.
And so I thought Gronkowski, and I tweeted it out, and I got a lot of feedback on it because I tweeted out like they should give it to him since we all know he's going to retire. But I mean, I just kind of was saying they probably will because he's going to retire, but I think he earned it. I think he made the big plays down the stretch, and I think he should have been the MVP.
I mean, if I could pick somebody from the defense of the Patriots, I would, but nobody really stood. I mean, it was a collective effort.
Gilmore makes the pick and a forced fumble.
Yeah. But, if I could just, pick Bill Belichick and his scheme, that's what I would pick.
Fair enough.
But getting back to Edelman and
Calais
Gronkowski.
Campbell, by the way, said it could be. If you do have the lowest scoring game in Super Bowl history,
yeah,
it is kind of surprising a defensive player doesn't get it.
That's a good point. I mean, I remember back, when Green Bay was in, I think, 97, played the Patriots actually, and White had 3 sacks.
Yeah,
that was an MVP performance from the Patriots defense standpoint. Like you said, Gilmore had a pretty good game. I mean, they all had a great game.
Yeah, Hightower was great,
but as far as the stats, there wasn't a lot of sacks. So I have to go Edelman. And I can understand why you're calling Gronkowski a tight end because that's what he plays, but he's also a receiver. So if you're looking from a receiver standpoint, and you're a receiver that puts up 141 yards with 10 catches. It's probably going to be the player of the game. I mean, unless the quarterback went off, which Brady didn't. So I agree with you. Gronk's catches, they're big, and then, they have the scoring drive. But if you take Edelman out of that game, I don't know if the Patriots win. I really don't. If you take Gronk out of that game, I think the Patriots still have a chance to win that game. I really do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I mean, they do have a chance, no doubt. And here's, again, I mean, I'm fighting against myself here a little bit, and you can quote tweet me and said the best player on offense yesterday was Edelman. Mm-hmm. And I said it earlier in the show, they met their requirement of plays in the first half because he was able to get open and move the chains and keep time of possession. And that set up like Sony Michel to be able to run out in that 4-minute offense because you wore down the defense. So there's game within a game stuff here. Yeah. I just didn't think it was as clear cut as everybody made it. I have no problem with Edelman being the guy.
No, and I'll give you that for sure. Gronkowski's catches might have been bigger than Julian Edelman's were.
And you go back to this last 2 weeks, again, I'll reiterate, Gronkowski is the difference maker for the New England Patriots. When they need big plays, they go to number 87 because he's really tough to guard, even though he's about to retire, in many people's opinion. All right, we're not done. I mean, I got a ton of energy.
Let's do it
today.
Let's do it.
I'm fired up.
I'm not done either.
Hey, by the way, I didn't
talk some defense, Brent.
I didn't know how much energy I'd have, so I got 2 coffees for the show.
That's a little overly aggressive, but
I'm going to ask you how the Jags would have defended Edelman next on ESPN 690. Hey, welcome back on ESPN 690 Action Sports. Jax, you need an eraser over there, man.
I know.
You got a little Christmas colors
Sponsors,
going.
What's up?
Whiteboard magic. You got to lower. You got to go lower.
I'm lower.
Slacker.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did.
You're pointing to yourself.
Yeah, because I didn't have anything cool to say this time because I was trying to eat my dinner. I know. There's just a lot going on still.
Hey, speaking of eating, I mean, fat ball season is officially over. Thank goodness. I mean, it's awful. I actually don't feel as bad as I normally do at this day. Mm-hmm. But I still feel bad. So you're about to go into fight camp mode potentially.
Yep.
I think I might go into fight camp mode.
Let's go, man. Let's get together.
And I am not doing well the stuff you do. I'm not doing all that. But
you'd be surprised what you could do, Brent.
Yeah, I don't need to. I don't want to. I don't want to. See, the problem is if I do that for a few months, I might start looking a little bit better than you.
And we don't need that because you already look a lot younger than I do. So the last thing we need is you to look a lot better than me, too.
And then I'm going to be like Adam Levine doing every show with my shirt off.
Exactly. Well, if that's the case, get some tattoos as well, man. Let's go.
Well, there we go.
Let's get tatted up.
I didn't know he was that tatted up. Probably the world didn't.
I had no idea either. I'm going to talk about that later, though. I have a lot of thoughts about how that Super Bowl halftime show went down. And
yeah, I think everybody does.
I thought about putting the ESPN 690 above my chest and taking a picture and putting it on our Facebook page.
Now we're talking.
That would be good. I like that. We might have to do something like that. We should have thought about something like that because it would have been pretty good, and embarrassing. But that's okay, especially with fat ball season just ending. Couple of things to keep our eye on as football season comes to a conclusion. It's really not, because this new Alliance Football League starts up this weekend. Orlando's in action. I'm interested in it. We're going to talk about it more later in the week. Hopefully have some folks on as well for it. But I'm actually interested in this league that starts up on Saturday. And again, we'll talk about it more during the end of the week.
I thought I should mention, though, did you see who else is playing in that now that I just realized? Former defensive end of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ryan Davis.
He was on Twitter a bunch.
Yeah.
We should get him on. Ryan's a cool dude.
Oh, he's a great dude.
Good guy. Yeah. Maybe we'll get him on. That'd be good.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be a problem to do. So we're going to try to get some. I think I wonder on the intrigue. I really do. We're going to talk about it later in the week. I'd love to get everybody's thoughts who's listening and just see the pulse of this league. I think it's got a chance. I really do. So that's coming up. National Signing Day is on Wednesday. By the way, we'll talk a little Florida State and DeAndre Francois in a little bit. And also, right after that, by the way, we're a couple weeks out from Daytona 500 week. So a lot happening, and then that will roll right into the Players' Championship, the Combine, the NCAA Tournament, the Masters, and the Draft. So we've got you covered through April with a lot of stuff happening here in Jacksonville and in the sports world. But we're all over the Super Bowl here today. Super Bowl 53 in the books. Patriots win again, a 6th World Championship. And the Edelman thing, if I was a Rams fan, I would have been like, what in the world? Why is he so open? Why haven't we done anything against this guy? How did they get him so open? And all I could think about in that game was, remember, the Patriots didn't have Edelman. He was suspended when they played the Jags here in week number 2.
True.
But I couldn't help but think of, okay, maybe the Rams just don't have the personnel needed. They can't just put Marcus Peters on him and try to cover him. They don't have that kind of talented guy. But the Jags do. If the Jags were in this position yesterday, and I know it really is a moot point, but I was just interested in the answer and people's opinions, how would they have played it? Would they have travel Jalen Ramsey with Edelman. And remember, you got to keep this in mind. This is a hindsight question. I'm asking going into the game, would they have tried to take away Edelman as his big target and travel Ramsey with him?
So you're asking me if the Jags play the Patriots, who's taking Edelman, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
because you have to defend Gronk too.
No, and that's what was going to be my point. So I think last year, I'm pretty sure Ramsey was on Gronk for a majority of the time because you think about Ramsey.